What is happening, y'all? It is October 31st. It's Halloween. Freak out. If you're under 30, freak out. Halloween, Candy Day, as I like to call it, Candy Day. Thanks for listening. I will be your host on this lovely, lovely podcast for one of the biggest UFCs of the year, if not the biggest UFC 217, Madison Square Garden, New York City. New York. As the fight's getting closer, I'm getting a little more excited about it, but I'm still not, flipping out. And I don't think the general consensus, people aren't flipping out. We'll get into that. I will give you my prediction on the main event, the main card fights, and then also how many pay-per-views I think this bad boy is going to do. I think it's going to surprise you guys. Or not. You might be like, not really, dude. That's what I think, too. So we shall see, but it is Halloween. I posted on my Instagram, and it's really, I have a few pictures from my childhood of Halloween, and this one is me as the French robot. And I'm pretty sure as a kid, and this wasn't frowned upon in 1989 or 88, whenever it was, I was a gay French robot. And I decided to act flamboyant, and my mom had those croissants. She had like a whole shitload of them we got from the store because we'd eat them with butter. My brother loved them. And I decided, instead of giving out candy, this French robot who's super flamboyant is going to pass out my mom's croissants to all the kids. Now, about 8 lucky kids got them before my mom took those croissants away. But that was my outfit, man. I remember I think my brother's a ninja that year, or he's a ninja. Oh, he might have been Dracula that year. Like something a kid at, I think he was 9 or 10, would want to be. And my mom was like, all right, I guess a French robot makes sense, psycho. You don't see those original costumes anymore like that, though. This day and age, kids they just go to the store and buy it out of the bag. My mom she'd go, what do you want to be this year? Like a month before. And I'd tell her and she'd make it. I'm trying to get her to make my son Tiger the same outfit. So hopefully next year he can be, and then make me one too, so we can both be French robots. And then then slang some croissants. This day and age, though, you can't really give out croissants to kids.
No, not food.
Yeah,
not food. It's creepy
now.
There's there's nothing worse when you're trick or treating and someone give you like an apple. You got some nerve, bitch. An apple? What's wrong with you?
I don't think MJ even knows about that time.
No, that happened to me. I remember like people who pass out like fruit and stuff, and it's like that's so weird.
Yeah.
I remember like someone did the Uncrustable sandwiches before, those little like PB&J.
What? And they made them themselves?
No, like the giant boxes you get from Costco of the Uncrustable peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
First of all, if you're listening to this and you're over 30, you know damn well kids are going to stop by your house. If you give out fruit, if you give out change, if you give out I'm so upset about this. If you give out anything but wrapped candy, stop listening to the show and make a fist with those bullshit apples or whatever almonds you're going to give out of that change and just take your head and fucking ram it right into your fist. There's nothing more heartbreaking as a kid. Now, on the other aspect of that are the people that drop out the full-size Snickers.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've never gotten a full size.
Oh, bro.
You have to go to the nicer neighborhoods. You go trick-or-treating.
I lived off Kentucky Place in Aurora, Colorado by Aurora Hills Middle School. And there was some nice older lady up the street, 3 houses down, and every year she gave out full-size candy bars. You got to go early.
Yeah.
She's not going to have a shitload of them, so you got to go early. I'd always go expensive. Early. Then you know what the other thing you do, and this is just... it's 2017. You can't do this. Back in the day, we weren't as greedy as the kids are now, but the lazy effort, people that don't want to get up and get the doorbell, where they just leave out a huge mass pile of candy, goes with a note, take one, please. Bitch, I'm 8. I'm not going to just take one. I'm going to reach in there and fill this bag, Terrible.
I put those signs before, too, because I don't like answering the door, and then literally... a few people come by and it's all gone. So you're one of those people.
All gone. Well, yeah, man, I don't know. It's like, what? No one's around? Hell yeah.
True.
This day and age, you can't do that. I tried that a few years ago and it was gone in 15 minutes.
That'd be funny if you hid And then if a kid grabbed too much, you like jump up and scare them. Ah!
You know who does that? And then, listen, I'm all about Halloween, but then I have some friends who take it over the top. So Henry Gracie and Eve Gracie, his wife now, they dress up. They have a Halloween party. They dress up, and they throw a Halloween party. And I'm talking, they dress up to the nines. I think last year she was Khaleesi, and he was, I forget, Aquaman or some shit like that. But they dress up, and then what they do is they have a guy stay in the bushes with a walkie-talkie and tell them when kids are coming. Then they come around and scare the kids. I remember last year they scared some kids so bad they started crying. Oh. Like, you can't. It's just too much, man. It's just too much for a kid,
Not little kids, at least.
No.
The older ones, yeah, go for it, scare them.
It's Halloween.
It's Halloween. Yeah. It's whatever.
Comes with the territory.
And then, as a kid, we used to go with pillowcases. Mm-hmm. Did you guys use pillowcases?
Yeah, we used pillowcases.
Used pillowcases, and I'm talking, that thing was full. I used to drag that thing like as Scrooge McDuck with coins to my house, and they would empty it out, and we'd switch and trade, and I always wanted the Twizzlers and the Milky Ways, and you trade with your friends. Or really, it's just my brother and I. But I remember my dad, there was some rumor that went around, and if you look it up now, it's false. I'm sure it's happened over time, but it's all false where people were putting razor blades or drugs or glass in the candy. That was all a myth.
Yeah,
I thought it was for sure.
That never really happened. No, that's all a myth. Yeah, that no one. I mean, I'm sure it's happened over time, but isn't it like this epidemic where you need to search all your candy?
Yeah.
And when you search my kids' candy, 100% because they grew up like that. But yeah, there's like this huge uproar as a kid. I remember just word of mouth. Back then, you have no idea.
Especially, I heard apples. That's why I think a lot of people didn't like apples. Because they would say razor blades would be in the
There's
apples.
so many reasons why you don't hand out fucking apples. And also, save your, candy's ruining their teeth or candy's unhealthy. It's Halloween. Save that shit. Because I guarantee if you have kids and I come to your door and you're giving out these homemade granola bars that are gluten-free, your kid sucks. Your kid sucks. If you're listening to this and you're that person that hands out coins, freaking plastic toys, whatever it is, you suck, man. Don't be that person. Put some effort into it.
Plastic toys doesn't sound too bad if they're cool toys.
No, they're not cool toys because for the masses. So it was always like the weird fucking geometric like bullshit like triangles or squares that you can't do anything with.
Yeah. That's what you're talking about.
Man, the memories are just flooding back to me right now, too. I remember change. I remember when people gave me change, like pennies. And nickels were awesome.
Quarters, yeah.
I never got quarters.
So rude. It is so rude.
People are weird.
It is so, so rude to hand out change or a healthy snack. This is not a time for healthy snacks. Yeah. My son ate an Oreo for breakfast this morning because it's Halloween. We're goddamn Americans. Let's not get weird. Let's not overthink it. It's their one day to go, whatever, man. Whatever, man. I like Halloween. We're just going to stay. Oh, what's weird is, as a kid, did you dress up for school?
Mm-hmm. Always, yeah.
Did you dress up?
I don't remember.
But a lot of people
probably
did, right?
Did, yeah,
the teachers even would dress
up.
I
live across from a school, and I was telling my son, I'm like, oh, you ready to see all these cool costumes? No one dresses up. I think it's a policy. They can't dress up.
Dress code?
Really?
Does he wear a uniform?
No, he's in preschool, but I live across from school where it's older kids, like kindergarten through 5th grade. Yeah. No one dresses up. No teachers, nothing.
Oh, that's lame.
I think it's policy now. I don't think their kids are allowed to dress up.
That sucks.
That's weird.
I think it depends where you're at, but we're in my hood, no one dresses up, which is such a shame.
It is weird. Yeah, my best friend's a teacher in San Creta, and her class is all dressed up.
She's
dressed up, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends where you're at.
Yeah, it must be the districts. So
remember Halloween was cool, and then for Valentine's Day, if you had a crush on a girl, that was game on.
Oh,
because it was so weird if you
candy.
slipped her a little freaking thing with a candy heart in it.
God, I'm remembering all this stuff now that I haven't thought about in forever.
Remember that?
I do.
And then also in high school, it sucked. I wonder if they still do this. I bet they don't. They can't even play dodgeball for God's sakes because kids get picked on. But I remember you could send roses or flowers to someone in class.
They still do that at my school.
They would knock on the door and come we have a rose for Ashley, and then come in, Ashley, yay, But the girls that didn't get them, it sucked, man. I feel like it
is kind of sad. Yeah. I remember in high school we had that, And me and my best friend from my French class, we wrote like dirty French notes to each other. Like, it's just a joke. And the ASB people didn't like read it. Obviously, they didn't know what it said. So they wrote it on the roses. And they ended up passing the roses during French class. So then my French teacher was like, oh, let's see who got roses and let's read out your notes aloud. And so like my friend ended up eating the note.
Oh, damn.
He ended up eating it.
Tight
So
move.
funny.
Prison
Yeah,
style.
I know. He was pretty good. He was pretty
Do
cool.
you remember, God, these teachers, man. You remember when you pass notes? Well, obviously, these days, kids can text each other like whatever they want, dick pics, whatever, GIF, meme, whatever. But when I was a kid, this is going to be the same with you, Chan.
Yeah.
Did you have cell phones in school?
I had a to-go phone, yeah.
Yeah,
I
there
was
you
at that
go.
cusp of that generation.
Yeah, not me.
Wow.
We had to pass notes.
Yeah.
We like write notes. The teachers that would intercept those notes like we're fucking Russian spies. What the fuck? And then sometimes they would read them out.
Yep.
So awkward.
Oh my God, the nerve.
I remember.
But did you pass them as footballs? Where you like would fold it up in a football?
Yeah,
and
or a
fling it?
triangle or
Yeah.
something pretty classy to deliver to my friend. They'd have, like, psst, psst, pass that. They'd pass it, like, or they'd write back. But you're
remember that
kids,
stuff, yeah.
man.
It's so
We're
fun.
down memory lane right now.
It
but
is.
it was, we used to write freaking notes and then pass them around. And, you know, it's not for your teacher's eyes or the adult eyes.
We would make fun of the teacher.
Yes.
In my Spanish class, we'd make fun of her. Her name's Miss Wetzel. Miss Wetzel. And then all we did was just draw cartoons and pass it, and everyone add to the cartoon
Oh, that's cool.
about her, which is so mean, but that's
well,
what
your
we did.
kids.
Yeah.
And then would she get it?
I don't think she ever found it.
God, it's a bummer when they get it.
Yeah. Luckily. If she found it, I would have felt horrible because it would have broken her heart. And we're just trying to have fun. as
You also,
little
yeah,
kids.
you're kids. You don't, you know,
Yeah.
you're not thinking like that.
Jeez, man. So those are the things that the kids these days are missing out on. Like those little things, like you're putting it together, you're creating stuff and you're passing it. You don't do that anymore.
No notes. There's
text
not. Remember when
messages.
they used to put up the projector and you have to write note, like keep up and write notes.
Yeah.
But what's weird about that, when I think about it, and the way we're learning back then, is I can't listen to what you're saying and write the note. I couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
My friends couldn't either. I mean, we weren't just a bunch of Wayne heads. Such an old reference if you know the cartoon. We're not just a bunch of old Wayne heads, but you'd be writing down and you're not getting information. It's like trying to, if I try listen to a podcast, reading a book, there's just a disconnect. You can't do both at once. I couldn't write notes then listen to what they're saying because they're switching the pages.
Yeah. I hate
This day and age, I think some schools you can just download the material.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Stressful, man.
I do remember that stuff. Yeah. I'm the same way too. I would always be late on the notes and then I'd have to ask my friends to copy their notes because I'm not good at notes and taking in information.
But how much better would it be if they would just print out the notes, hand them to you, and then while they're going, you could highlight it, listen to what the teacher's dropping knowledge on you, and go over it instead of doing the activity of writing instead of learning.
Yep.
Well, schools aren't trying to print out papers anymore. They're trying to get rid of like all the
All
wasted
digital,
paper.
right?
Yeah, so now a lot of them have like tablets.
Yeah.
And then through Google Chrome, there's a thing called Classroom that a lot of schools are using now, to where everyone can take notes on an open forum. So all the students are taking notes on like one
And then you share the
tablet, and they're
notes.
sharing all the notes. Yeah, my
Oh
friend's
my
niece
God, I
was
would
showing her
slack.
tablet, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Oh my God, I
Crazy.
was like, okay, Janine, go
Go
ahead
team.
and do it. I'm going to add this in, like, dickhead. I'd be that guy. Thanks for the notes. But no, you'd learn that way. And then remember when we'll get to fights, people like, Jesus Christ.
They're like, that's
Remember the TI-83s, the Texas Instruments?
Yes. They
Calculators?
were really cool calculators.
It was like basically like your iPhone X back then.
Yeah.
Like
You write
had
notes?
games on it. I remember I could take a regular standard calculator and write boobies on it. You'd flip it
Flip
upside down.
Yeah. It's the best.
And it's to do that, it's 8008135. That spells boobies, kids.
Hell yeah.
This day and age is like, what? I just text boobies to my friend, or I'll just send a pic of tits. Get out of here, old man. They're just missing it, man. Kids aren't
Yeah.
as creative.
Did you had pagers, right?
Oh, I had a pager.
Those are the best because you could write like if you like someone and then you could write morning. You could actually write morning like 177
Yeah.
something whatever.
Or if it was important, you'd put 911.
911, yeah. Or call me back 424.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Payphones.
So I didn't have a pager in my generation. No one did pagers.
Those are cool. You can make them clear.
Kind of
with
lucky.
different
You
styles.
had a red one, and then I remember I went to gym and I left it somewhere, and then the bully of the school was this big girl, and then she showed up the next day with my red pager. I didn't say
damn.
shit like Debo. I was like, you know what? You just keep it. We'll just on the weekends I'll get it. We'll just split time. She's like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, all right, no doubt, no doubt, lady.
Girl bully.
Yeah, big girl bully.
Damn.
I was like, dude, isn't that a pager? I'm like, no, I lost mine, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure yours was the only red one in the school. I'm like, nah, it's hers now. So there's that. There is that. All right, let's get some fight talks. Fuck you and your pagers. Fuck you, Generation Z. How about that? How about them apples? You know what? I hope you guys get change in apples this freaking tonight. That's what I hope. All the Generation Z has to deal with that. Hopefully no one puts razor blades in your candy. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Fight business. You had UFC Sao Paulo over the weekend. It was a good card. I thought, when I made my picks, I was picking the underdogs for betting. And a lot of time when I make my picks, when I make my picks tonight or today for the UFC 217 card, a lot of it's based off the odds. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. Sometimes I'll have friends text me who I pick against, something like that. It has nothing to do with my relationship, my personal relationship with anyone. It's me picking as an analyst and not as just a freaking friend. That's why I hate making picks. And some of these picks, like TJ and Cody, I hate picking against either one of those guys. But you got to do it. I think people who don't make picks are... it's you just got no backbone, man. I'm not saying you gotta, put anyone down, but if you don't make picks, what are you doing? That's why people are listening most of the time. But back to Sao Paulo. The underdog pick where I thought was the best money was the Pedro Munoz fight against Rob Font, which he won by guillotine choke. Again, a lot of this comes from guys I train with. I know how much of a monster he is, and he only loses to upper echelon guys. John Lineker looked great. That's a tough go for Marlon Vera, but Marlon Vera has a huge career in front of him. Jim Miller, I don't know how many he has left in the tank. Trinaldo either. Trinaldo's not young, so you got two old cats going at it. And then, the star of this entire UFC Sao Paulo is Colby Covington against Damian Maia. He came in talking all that mess, and it's very Chael Sonnen-esque. I think he's doing the right thing. I think he's even though Derek Brunson murked Lyoto Machida, Colby Covington's the talk of the town. In the town, I mean our fight world, this town. I think they got him ranked at number 3 now in the welterweights, and I'm going to get to welterweights and how exciting it is. But Colby Covington... He's doing it right, whether you love him or hate him, he's definitely doing it right because we're talking about him. And you look at the welterweight division, there's a bunch of legends up there, there's some superstars, and then you got a bunch of foaming at the mouth young up-and-comers who are the future of the UFC. And if you're a UFC employee or you're just a fan of the sport, I think look no further than your welterweight division to carry into the next few years. There's literally that welterweight division is murderer's row. It's filled with some older guys that we know of that we love, but it is in good hands. More so than any other division, I think it's in good hands. Because when you look at, you got Woodley the champ, then you got Robbie Lawler, Thompson who fights this weekend, and Colby Covington's number 3, which I think is a little weird. He's number 3. We'll get to that. Then you got Jorge Masvidal at 4 fights this weekend, number 2 against Wonderboy Thompson. Then obviously Damian Maia, older. So let's just go through the top. Let's do the top 10. So you got Tyron Woodley, right? I would say older, but he's your champ. You got Robbie Lawler, older. Stephen Boyd Thompson, older. Then you got Colby Covington, number 3, young cat. Jorge Masvidal, older. Damian Maia, older. Rafael Dos Santos, older. Carlos Condit, older. Don Cerrone, older. So you got Darren Till, you got Colby Covington, and then you got Mike Perry. How Mike Perry's not in the top 15 is insane, but you got Mike Perry. You got Usman. So, God, there's just a lot of talent at welterweight. But back to Colby Covington, when he called the Brazilians, what do you call them, scumbags?
Filthy animals.
Filthy animals. I listen, he's not going to win over a ton of fans doing that, but you're talking about him. So it's kind of the Floyd Mayweather thing or the Tito Ortiz thing where you're going to want to tune in to see this kid fight because if you hate what he's doing, you want to see him get annihilated. If you like what he's doing, you like how he's anti-Brazil, then you're going to freaking root for the kid. And in a division that's filled with killers, and you're talking about him, I just think he's going about the right way. I'll tell you who's not going about this whole Colby Covington thing the right way is the champ Tyron Woodley. Woodley's going, I'm not going to give him any platform. I'm not even going to address it. Okay, go back to that 170 rankings. Okay, Tyron. So you don't, and again, I'm a fan of Woodley, and I respect what he's done, especially how many times he's defended the title when a lot of people aren't doing that. But okay, Woodley, you don't want to address Colby Covington. Who do you think you're going to fight next that we care about? And when I say care about, it doesn't mean it's not a great fighter. Listen, if Robbie Lawler to win against Dos Anjos, that's a fight. All right, I guess. Is that a pay-per-view draw? Nope. Who's really foaming at the mouth or going crazy to watch Woodley perform right now? I think he's an amazing fighter. He's a champ. He's fought all comers. You look at his resume, it's crazy. He has every right to be champion, but he's just not a draw because we don't care if he wins or loses. Those Wonder Boy fights just took their toll on both of them. Yeah. Both of them. Those were there's argument that was one of the worst, one of top 2 worst title fights of all time. That fight was fucking terrible. I'm trying not to cuss as much, but sometimes it's come out when I get passionate. Though that title fight was awful, man. And then the Damian Maia fight, you're not knocking anyone's hair back, but he's winning, so you can't take it away from him. And you are currently the champ. But no one is like, oh my God. I've never met one person like, dude, I cannot wait to see Woodley's next fight. It's going to be so sick. That doesn't happen. And then if you're Woodley, you're, well, dude, I have these finishes. I have 9 finishes. I beat this guy, I get that. But I'm going based off your last 2 fights with Wonder Boy and then the fight with Maia. It's a tough freaking sell, man. But then, same what happened to Jose Aldo, you get a kid who can talk, a kid who people are going to love or hate, is going to bring eyeballs to your fight, and a Colby Covington, and there's history. There's you have your ATT connection. The kid likes to talk shit. He's not scared to go out on a limb. I think he can't take it far enough. I know people go, oh, don't cross the line. I think Colby needs to go, where's the line? And fucking run through it. Where's the line that's going to offend people? This is it here. Kikoosh! Run right through it. Put even more heat on everybody. And look, he's number 3 in the world right now. So I think Woodley's just making a mistake. I also think Woodley's making a mistake. He's doing all this stuff, right? He has this TMZ show. He's on the UFC panel. He's commentating. Movies. That's going to catch up with all that's old school. You know what's old school? Not being fully focused on fighting. You know what's old school? Fighting more than 3 times a year. A Donald Cerrone type-isk. Trying to always cut weight and fight whoever, whenever. That's the game evolved since then. People go, well, last year. You're talking about last year? Are you shitting me? The game's so fast. It's evolving so fast. If you're Woodley, you can't do all that stuff when you got a guy in Darren Till. You know what movie Darren Till's in? None. You know what commentating gig Darren Till's doing right now? Mm-mm. You know what he's doing? He's in the gym training. You know what movie Colby Covington's in? Me neither. Probably the Colby Covington training story is what I'm thinking. You know? So, and I get it. Tyron Woodley's been doing it for a long time, and he's one of the best welterweights of all time, and he's doing his thing. He's champ, and he's defended it. So maybe he's like, man, I have these other opportunities. So now I'm just doing this over here. Come get it, boys. And I get that, man. I get 100%. But Usman, Till, Covington, those guys aren't doing those things. And that's who you got to worry about. You know what Wonder Boy brings to the table. You know what Masvidal brings to the table. You know what Damian Maia brings to the table. We know what Dos Anjos is going to do. We know what Carlos Condit's going to do. We know what Don Cerrone is going to do. I couldn't tell you how to beat Usman. I couldn't tell you how to beat Darren Till right now. I don't know what you're going to do to Colby Covington. We haven't seen enough of it. What I do know is all they're solely focused on is getting that belt. And that means a world of difference when you're a fighter. So, and I think these young guys are realizing that. they can make up ground on these vets, these famous vets who want to cross over in entertainment and do the thing over there. They're like, oh shit, well, he's doing that. I'm training. I want what he has. I'm going to go get it. It's a fine line there, man. So I think Kobe Covington has a case to fight Woodley. The only thing that's going to mess that up is if Jorge Masvidal murks Wonderboy Thompson. That's a big if. But if Masvidal can get a huge win past Wonderboy Thompson, he's going to leapfrog everyone and fight for the title. If Wonderboy murks Masvidal, he's not fighting for the title next. You're fucking crazy. You think anyone wants to see Woodley versus Wonderboy 3? They're just bad dance partners. They're both great individually, and any other matchup I will tune in. Wonderboy versus Woodley should never, ever happen again. That fight should never happen. Just chalk it up. Nope, they don't mix well. Move on. There's a way other matchups you can make. There's a ton other matchups you can make. But those welterweights, man, if I'm a welterweight in 2017, that is just murderer's row. Everyone's scary in that division. And you just got this crop of young killers in Kobe, Till, and Perry. It's crazy. I thought my biggest takeaway, too, from UFC Sao Paulo is the best performance of the night, Daniel Cormier. I thought he was amazing on the mic. Oh. Tip of the hat to DC. I thought DC is really coming to his own. You know, he is at the tail end of his career, and I just think, you know, he's showing personality, which 99.9% of these analysts can't do. I think you can tell DC wants to be there. All these other guys who are current fighters who are being analysts, you can tell they're not passionate. They don't want to be there. It's a job. I guess I'll do it. I have to do it. With DC, there's a lot of passion. It's fun to watch. So I think he was the MVP of the night. You know, Derek Brunson went out there. It's sad to see Lyoto Machida, especially, you know, former training partner of mine, friend of mine, go out there, you know, have 2-year layoff, and then, he just can't take the same hits he can take anymore. And Derek Brunson's quietly just working his way up to a title shot, the middleweight rankings. You look at just the guys he's lost to. He had that bullshit decision against Anderson Silva where he got screwed. But other than that, man, you look, he's quietly like, God damn, this guy's one big win away from doing something. You know, before he had that hike moment against Robert Whittaker, we just ran straight at him with his chin up and got murked. Other than that, before that, Lorenz Larkin, Ed Herman, Sam Alvey, Juan Canario, Uriah Hall, those are all knockouts, except for the Lorenz Larkin one. But and then of course he gets murked by Robert Whittaker. Whittaker's the champ, so you can't hang your head about that. And that was a horrible game plan on his part. Anderson Silva, let's be honest, he probably beat him. And then he murked Dan Kelly and just murked Lyoto Machida. So his resume there, you're like, damn, this dude's kind of doing the damn thing. At middleweight's getting tricky. So even though Brunson showed up, did his thing in Brazil, my MVP of the night would be Dan Cormier, and then the biggest takeaway was Kobe Covington. Shout out to Kobe Covington. He's doing the damn thing. And I think the guy who's missing the boat on all this is Woodley. He has a TMZ show where he talks about, you know, pop culture and gossip. Well, you got one, man. Engage with the guy. Get it going. You gonna fight Dos Anjos next? You gonna fight Robbie Lawler next? Maybe a Wonderboy 3. Can you tell the excitement in my voice? Get with it, man. Who the fuck is his manager? Help him out here. Help the guy out. He needs it. Definitely needs it. Then boxing news. I mean, Anthony Joshua this weekend, 1 in 10th round stoppage. He was kind of coasting. It was a late replacement. He looked good. It definitely an early stoppage. They're just like, you know what, we can't even risk Anthony Joshua, losing this fight because he's the face of boxing now. 75,000 sold out. The fight before that, 90,000 sold out. His promoter Hearns said in 2018 he's going to fight Fury, Wilder, and Joshua, which is amazing. So I can't wait for those. Boxing's in a good place. And then this Saturday on Showtime, my boy Deontay Wilder is fighting Stavern, who's beat before. Remember, he was supposed to fight Luis Ortiz, but Luis Ortiz got busted by WADA, or WADA, where the hell you want to call him, for illegal supplements again. God damn it. But that was the big fight for Wilder to get to Anthony Joshua. Beating Stavern, I don't think is going to do it, but you never know. He's probably one away, or if Joshua wants to make the fight happen, they could do it. So that's Saturday, and that is at the Barclays Center. And that fight ends before the UFC pay-per-view begins. So you can watch both. Don't tweet me. Don't DM me. Instagram. Dude, why would Showtime compete with the UFC? They're not. You can watch both. Don't be that guy. There's no reason to pick. It's like watching baseball and football. They're completely different. Different times, too. Do both. Wilder's fun to watch, man. He's also your United States heavyweight champ. So show that guy some support. It's going to be a good fight. Good chance Wilder knocks him out. That is on Showtime for free, not pay-per-view, this Saturday night. I'm excited for that one. Should we get into some of the current events, Chen?
Sure. And I want to ask you about something. This one. Okay, since you're talking about how Colby has to find that line and go over it.
Yeah, there's no line.
Mm-hmm. So he's going to be reviewed by the Code of Conduct Committee of the UFC because of what he said. And they say they're taking it seriously. They're not happy about it. So
okay. Hold on. So now there's a Code of Conduct policy group for the UFC.
But I don't see how it affects this. This is like more trash talk. Not...
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Hey, Colby, listen, man. Let's not call Brazil filthy animals. Well, that's my whole spiel. That's what I do. Like I'm taking a page out of Wrestling Heels books where I'm trying to offend them so they tune in to watch me lose. What? Hold up. Hold on. Now I gotta check in with you guys with the way I hype a fight. You guys are awful at hyping fights. If I leave it up to you, no one's gonna know my name. That doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You can't. That just doesn't work. Now, if he's saying racist stuff, if he's cussing, the Board of Conduct Committee, you have a legit argument here. But if a guy's doing this, no, you're out of your lane here, Board of Committee, whatever you are. How many are there of them? But anyways, the UFC Code of Conduct Committee, Jesus Christ. You can't tell a guy how to get on the mic and speak. No cuss words, I agree with. Racism, I agree with. Being homophobic, I agree with. Any of that stuff, I get. But don't tell a guy how to hype his next fight, because especially if it's working. You know?
It's definitely working. This is the most I've ever heard about Colby Covington.
Correct. Let me see his apology.
Oh, his apologies.
It's his formal apology. I went to work last week. I was screamed at, spit at, assaulted with water bottles and other objects by an angry mob of serenaded by 10,000 voices yelling, "You are going to die." I've been there, brother. My employee had to place security at my hotel room to protect me. I'd like to formally apologize to any filthy animal I offended by comparing them to my host in Sao Paulo. Sincerely, Colby Covington. It's great.
It's a good way to respond, right?
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Keep it, like I said, Colby, if you're listening, brother. So there's a line. Go ahead and poke your head over that line and then freaking truck through it. Mm-hmm. And you're going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. You're gonna get people to rally around you. You're gonna get a ton of people to hate you. And you know what that does? Pays you. Paycheck, son. Especially at 170. No one else is doing it. You got a bunch of dinosaurs up there. No one's really interested in watching. What else you got?
All right. And I do remember, like, even saying on this show, like, a while back, like, Colby Covington, like, he wanted to fight someone, and we're like,
well, remember that girl said she had some, or no, remember when Woodley said he had some texts for Dana White that were going to come out?
There you go, yeah, that.
And then Colby came out, I was like, text, bro, I have something on you. Mm-hmm. That was the first I've really heard of Colby. I was like, oh, no, that's a bad look. But he's obviously trying to get an angle to get noticed, and he has the skills to back it up. Now he got something.
Yep.
Now when I say he got something, he's also very tough, phenomenal grappler. His striking scares me a little bit at that top level because Damian Maia was landing some big shots. That first round, Damian Maia outstruck him. So when you're going against guys like Wonder Boy, Till, Woodley, who can strike, Masvidal, these guys, man, you leave those same openings, you're going to be in trouble. I don't know if he's... I think 3's a little too gracious for him right now. I like it, especially where he's at, and you can make a good case for him to fight Woodley. because what he did Damian Maia, but I think it's been a little generous. I think I don't know if he's at that top level echelon of striking.
Yeah.
I think he might run into some problems. When Damian Maia's landing those right hands like he was, that was a little alarming to me. Now, maybe he just underlooked Damian Maia's striking, and he's like, whatever, man. Who cares if he lands those? I'm just going to keep, outworking him and drain this dude. But it was a little bit of a red flag. Like, oof, at the top, that's going to be some issues for you. What else you got?
Okay, so Chris Holdsworth, trainer at Team Alpha Male. A while back, Cody Garbrandt said that TJ Dillashaw is the one that kind of like hit him and then had to retire Holdsworth. He's not retired, but that's what he said. That's what he's saying. Like he hit him like when he shouldn't have done it during training, and that messed up his career. So Holdsworth never said anything about it since, but then he went on Arrow's show and said that yes, it did happen during training. Mm-hmm. He was sprawled out, and then TJ landed a knee on the top of his head when he was sprawled out in training when he shouldn't have done it. And he also said that TJ is known for being aggressive. He goes overboard in training.
I knew that.
He'll knee you while boxing, and he'll elbow you while doing jiu-jitsu. He says that, so he hit him in the head. That's what caused that serious concussion. And then he accuses him of doing PEDs.
Wow. I love Uriah Faber. I'm a huge fan of Uriah. I'm a fan of Team Alpha Male. Cody's one of my favorite fighters. I think he's one of the most stand-up champions we've ever had. This Team Alpha Male thing, for whatever reason, they're like that bitter ex that can't let the guy go. Now TJ trains with a lot of my former teammates. He was with all my old coaches. He's with Duane Ludwig. He's with Lisa Bolin at Muscle Farm when he was there. The one thing, and it's not a knock, the one thing about TJ, they go, dude, first day he got there, they were sparring. They go, you better come correct. TJ plays for keeps. He's dead serious. He's so competitive that if you get you land something on him, the next day he downloads that. He becomes obsessed with it. It sounds to me, and I get it. Like, Jesus Christ, we're sparring. They shouldn't be doing that. And there's some dirtiness going on there. It sounds to me like TJ's just a straight up savage competitor. And you know what you're signing up for. He's gonna bring it. Now the elbows and jiu-jitsu and stuff, I have a hard time believing that he might have slipped. I have a hard time believing he's throwing elbows.
Yeah,
that's not real. That's not realistic. The boxing's throwing knees. Again, if you're boxing, the guy keeps throwing knees. He might have done it once because it was muscle memory or something like that. I have a hard time believing every time he's boxing, he's throwing knees. I can't buy that. Being around gyms, growing up gyms my entire life, it's hard for me to buy those certain things. I think he did do them, and that is dirty, but I don't think it's something he's doing all the time. The one thing I know about TJ is he's an ultimate competitor, and you better bring your mouthpiece and your fucking sack lunch when you go to spar with this kid. Because to me, what it sounds like are people complaining that he's the ultimate winner. He's a sore loser. He's the ultimate winner. Well, you know what happens when you're that guy? You become world champion. These other guys complaining aren't world champions, are they? Anytime I've heard people complain about TJ and how tough he is in the gym, and you know who's exactly like him, but was never a champion? Duane Ludwig. Duane Ludwig in Denver, and you can ask Cowboy Cerrone, Cody Donovan, Elliot Marshall, Nate Marquardt, Shane Carwin, George St. Pierre, Rashad Evans. You can ask all these guys. They will say the same thing. If you're sparring with Duane Ludwig, you better have your fucking head on a swivel because he's going to hurt you. He's the exact same. These guys, they're the ultimate competitors. It doesn't mean they're bad people, but you better know what you're doing, man. So with TJ, you don't really hear about too many people, complain about that because, that's how you become world champion. Most people I know, they're not going to be loosey-goosey with you when you're sparring. To them, it's their livelihood. So you better fucking be ready to go. The PD stuff. Where's the PD stuff? What's he say about PDs?
He was on some supplements.
I think Holdsworth is a great coach. He was a hell of a fighter. It's a bummer that happened. I'd be upset too if I was him. But again, it sounds like TJ's just one of those savages in the gym. There's another incident leading up to the Chico fight when he was getting ready for Barral. Then I heard he's on some special summon stuff, and I just lost respect for the guy. There's no hard feelings word, but he's a cheater. So there was another instance leading up to when he was getting ready for the. Then I hear that he's on some special then he hears. Mm-hmm. So again, a lot of times, and I'm not throwing shade at Team Alpha Male. I think what they're doing is great, and Uriah knows I love him. I'll take him after this if it offends him at all. But again, when you're an absolute winner takes all champion, and guys in the gym aren't at that level, and they don't understand why they're not at that level, and they see you getting the shine, they're gonna throw stuff at you like this. He's on steroids. That's why he's champion. Oh, he goes too hard and he fucks people up. That's why he's champion. I guess it just sounds like a bunch of bitter exes to me. Because Cody's really not saying this stuff, is he? He's champion.
I think, Cody did say a while ago.
Cody talks a lot of shit hype in the fight, but Cody's not saying the guy's on steroids. Cody's not saying he's going too hard in the gym. Because from what I hear, Cody goes pretty hard in the gym too. Bisping goes pretty hard in the gym too. Leo Machida goes hard as fuck in the gym. Verdum goes so hard in the gym. Shane always went crazy hard in the gym. All these absolute winners I know went fucking hard, man. Where you're like, oh my, chill out, man. I was never champion. Most guys that I know that complain were never champions. Those champions go, GSP, nice guy in the world. When you sparred, it was a nightmare, man.
Wow.
It's just, they're absolute winners. And if you take them down, best believe the next day, that takedown's not happening. They're going to take you down and try and break you because they just have this extra gear most people don't. They're the 1% of the 1%. They're the tip of the spear guys. That's what it sounds like you're dealing with TJ. But everyone has their own story. I like Team Alpha Male. It is what it is. It's good for the fight. It's a good build-up. What else you got?
And who knows if maybe that one time that he did it was the one where he hit his head and that's what messed him up. So
I know. It's a shitty deal for Holdsworth.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is Tyron Woodley. And he says his next move on the Anakin Florian podcast was that he's going to move to 185 to fight the winner of Bisping versus St. Pierre.
According to who?
Just him.
Just him?
Just him.
Well, I'm here to tell you that's not happening. Let's go through it. So let's say if GSP were to win the belt, if GSP wins the middleweight belt, he's not going to defend the belt at 85 and fight Woodley, who's coming up from 70 to 80. Can you imagine that shit show? It doesn't even make sense. If GSP were to win that belt, he would probably fight Woodley at 70 for his belt, so he's a 2-weight champion again. He'd vacate 85. Sense. He's never going to fight 85 again. I think he's going to struggle come Saturday at 85. He's never fighting at 85 again. If he were to win by decision, he's going to go back to 70, fight Woodley for the belt, or Woodley's not a big enough star. GSP goes, I'm not doing any of that, and he holds out, and you don't see him fight for a while until he fights a super fight against Conor McGregor. But Woodley fighting at 85, GSP or the winner of Bisping, that ain't ever happening. In no world do those puzzle pieces come together.
Yeah, if anything, 170 makes sense.
You're fighting 170. The UFC is going to start gearing down on people jumping around doing all this stuff, especially when you're a guy like Woodley where, what? No, people don't already want to see you fight. Again, I'm not knocking Woodley. People go, oh, you're such a hater, man. You're so negative. No. You've made your bed. You lay it. I just critique it. The bed you have made these past 3 fights have been safe and not entertaining. Now, I will always watch Woodley fight. I think he's an amazing fighter. I think he's one of the best 170ers of all time, no matter what happens moving on in his career. But when you're that type of fighter and you're playing it safe against Wonder Boy for 2 fights and then so safe against Maya, you're not going to be a draw. That's not on me. I watch every fucking fight. I watch the fights on Fight Pass. I watch Access TV fights and break them down. I'll watch all your fights. I love them. The general consensus of the public is you're not a draw. That's me commentating on that. That's me critiquing that. And you're not a draw. So when you're not a draw, you don't get to jump around. You don't get to pull these Conor McGregor moves. That's not the way it works. You're going to get what Dana White thinks you deserve. Until you have that Conor McGregor power where you can bounce over here, boxing 55, 45, 70, 85, whatever you want to do, you have to be such a draw where they're going to put up with your shenanigans. But you're not a draw. You're not going anywhere. It's not happening, man. Now, does Woodley deserve to do what he wants? Yes. He's one of the only champions who fights all comers. Defend his belt how many times? Against the next legit opponent? He's one of the guys doing it. But when you have those performances, you're not allowed to jump around. It's like being an actor, giving a shitty performance in a movie and then thinking you're going to jump into you're going to be the next Iron Man. What? No. No. You're going to take what we're going to give you. You ain't in the next Marvel movie. You crazy? That goes for the guy who's a big draw. It's entertainment. Don't get it twisted. What else you got?
All right. So you know how the contract with Fox and UFC is up this end of this year?
Is it end of this year?
Yeah, 2018.
End of 2018? I think it's sometime in 2018, right? Does
You're
it say when it's up?
The Fox Network has been the home of the UFC.
Oh, 2018,
for
okay.
now, at the end of 2018.
But now, before you do this, just so people realize it, most of the times when your deal's up, wheels are already in motion or a deal's almost pretty close to being done by now. So it's red flags that there's no smoke or fire right now. It's red flags. Like if you're any other company and you're looking for TV rights and you're not seeing a lot of news, this isn't good. Carry on. What is this?
So yeah, it is the end of 2018. That's when the deal comes to an end. And then Dana White said that they might even move to digital platforms. So no TV, no cable.
So the Fox network has been the home of the UFC for a few years now, and it ends in 2018. When the UFC signs its next broadcast deal, it could come on a digital platform, according to UFC President White. He put, absolutely, the UFC could be on digital platform. The stuff is all about to change. When I grew up, we had channel 3, 5, and 8, 13, and then channel Sesame Street is on. Those are all the channels we had that day, right? Fighting works everywhere across the planet. Now with technology, we're getting to a point I always dreamed about. I used to always say, we'll take this thing all around the world, build a fan base, build some talent in every country around the world. Then we'll get to a point where in time, everybody can watch at the same time on the same platform. We're getting to that day. I have two thoughts on this. I think one of the reasons he goes, hey, we might go all digital is because that might be their only choice. There's not a lot of buyers in the game who want the UFC, especially after this year. 2017 has been a nightmare. Again, I'm not hating. It's just what the ratings have been, and the stars haven't fought this year, and Conor decided to go to boxing. So you have a rough year, and the marketing has been off and all that. So I think one of the reasons he says this is because it might be their only option.
Yeah. Not the best option, but their only option.
Yes. And I do think that the old guard of TV and tune in at 8 p.m. and make sure you see it here, or you're not going to see it again, is changing. TV's still big. Look at the MLB World Series rate. Sports are still huge on TV. TV's still a pretty big component. You also need to have a digital space too. You got to be in both. But I think the one thing that's not dying is sports. Ratings are down, but not for World Series. Mm-hmm. If it's a good product, people are still going to tune in, especially if it's live. If it's live and it's the only time you can see it live, you're always going to have a rating on TV if the product's good. So I think with them going, we're going to go all digital, I think they have to say that because there's not a ton of players in the game right now. I hope they figure it out. What's good for the UFC is good for me usually.
And there's something about TV that I don't even understand, but when it's on TV, it just feels cooler when you're watching live sports.
Yes.
As opposed to watching on a computer.
Yeah, I think you have to figure out to do both. Maybe do a deal with Amazon, you do a deal with Twitter or Facebook, but if you're just exclusively on there, Now, listen, no one gets digital media more than I do. I live in digital media world. 18 to 36 males is how I make my living. But it just, you're going to take a step back because people are like, Jesus, I can't watch UFC on TV anymore. Nah, man, you got to get on your handheld. Ah, fuck. Like, and I get that's going to be the future. It's a rough look right now. We're not there yet. The NFL would have done that already. These other leagues are way further than this down the road. And the TV, also, pay-per-view is where they make a majority of their money. That's where the UFC gets their nut filled. Those TV deals where they get a ton of their money. If you just go digital, you sell advertising, but there's no way you're recouping your money. That, whatever $4 billion you spent for the UFC, you better figure it out, son. And that ain't going to be the way. So I don't know. What else you got?
Cool. All right. For the upcoming UFC at MSG, there will be instant replay. Like, it's in writing now. Last time it wasn't in writing, and it was super confusing.
Thank God.
For the Weidman.
They've had so many mistakes there, right?
Yeah. Especially the Weidman Musasi one.
Yes.
With the knees, all that stuff.
I love that. Makes sense. Welcome to 2017 where we can use freaking replay. Mm-hmm. It's only going to help the fighters out if there's, a weird call or a controversial call or something like that. So about goddamn time we're using instant replay. And side note, why in the world does Major League Baseball still use umpires? You know how easy it would be to just, and it's 100% accurate, to have a machine call a strike or ball? Do you have any idea how much more efficient it would be? And I know it's America's pastime, and those umps, I guess, are there for a reason, but there's technology out there that can tell you if it's a ball or strike, where it's down to a T. Where, you watch that game 5. There was a ton of missed calls because now what they do is they have the strike zone and they show the strike or ball. Mm-hmm. You see how many balls they call strikes. That's not fair. We're banking off the homeboys' strike zone. Why aren't we doing it? It's 2017. Why don't we do it more professional? It's very strange to me. Also, why are the managers wearing the same uniforms as the players? It's another day. Anyways, carry on.
How soon after when they throw the strike zone thing, how soon do they replay that?
Right away.
Right away?
Well, the strike zone's there, and it shows it, and it's red, and then the strike zone's here, and he'll go, strike! You're like, come on, bro, it's not a strike. They have way too much control. This old ump back there, this guy who's every bit of 70, who... You're crazy if he doesn't show favoritism towards certain pitchers. It's crazy, the bias they have for some of these pitchers. Because a lot of these pitchers, they're legends, man. They're superstars. For sure they're going to get more calls swayed their way than some other guy we've never heard of or that they don't know. You can eliminate all that. We have a strike zone, and it's a red or blue light or red and green light if it's strike or ball. It takes all the man air out of it. And then you have a legit game.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, too. It's taking the error out of it, right? If they did that.
Look at the statistics. How many errors those strike guys, those fucking umpires make. It's a big deal. I mean, I'm not a balls deep in baseball, but that's my one critique of it. I watch them like, why are the managers in goddamn uniforms? They look ridiculous. And why are we not having a computer call this? Takes away from the game. I get that. I like old school shit too, but they're kind of fucking up. All right, what else you got?
I don't know what else the umpire does. Does do a ton of stuff? No.
Well, you need the guy. The guys in the umpires in the outfield to call fair, foul ball. They do some other stuff.
I mean, the main guy.
The main guy calling strikes or balls.
That guy.
That's what he's there for.
Just strikes.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe there's more, but I have no idea.
And then argue with managers, which is awesome when they take off their mask and get in each other's face. What else you got?
Also, in this one, instant replay, it's only for fight-ending finishes, so I don't know.
Why limit to that? If you have access to it and can help clear up a controversy, why limit to fight-ending stuff?
I think the argument was if you stopped it and it wasn't like a fight anything, you're giving someone else an opportunity to rest or something like that. So I don't know. At least this is a good beginning.
We're getting there. New York needs it. How crazy is it that the UFC 217 isn't sold out, but Lomachenko's fight is sold out December 9th, Madison Square Garden.
Who is he fighting?
Lomachenko's fight. Oh my god, it's a great fucking fight. You can look it up.
Yeah.
His fight sold. Rigondeaux. Sorry,
Rigondeaux,
Yeah, it's an amazing fight. Both undefeated. It's a fight everyone's wanted to see. It's sold out.
Sweet. Yeah, they did that the last time we saw that current event where like no one was selling out anything, and then now they're starting to sell out again.
Who's starting to sell out?
Remember there's like 2 UFC events and then there's 2 boxing events. The boxing ones were big, and it was like low buys.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
I thought that was interesting. What's this?
All right, so Jim Lampley, I guess there's a video that Floyd Mayweather did when he was just kind of sparring on a bag. And then when this guy was asking about that, Lampley said Floyd Mayweather lost only a few rounds because obviously Floyd Mayweather did it on purpose to throw it so that he can do a rematch.
First of all,
and that's why he's also on the bag again.
All right, well, first of all, I love Jim Lampley. Love his coat there. Was that houndstooth? He looks like a dime piece in that coat. Powerful silver fox there. I'm a Jim Lampley fan, but his ill will towards mixed martial arts is so crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't say good
He's
stuff.
so passionate for boxing, why I love him, and he's the best commentator in the game, and he's great on HBO. I just don't get his disdain for mixed martial arts. Mm-hmm. We're not taken away from boxing, man. We're not the new kid in the class who's switching things. No one's stealing any views, none of that stuff. Floyd Mayweather, who's the king of boxing, wanted that fight as much as the UFC did. It takes 2 to tango, so his hate just doesn't make sense to me. So whatever he says about Conor McGregor in that fight, and he never thought it was serious anyways, it just doesn't hold up to me. So when he goes, he allowed Conor McGregor to win 3 rounds. Did he, or was he kind of feeling him out because Conor McGregor is a heavy puncher and didn't want to get knocked out? Did he? Was he the one where he wanted Conor to slip that left hand and throw a mean uppercut? You think he's letting Conor McGregor slip that punch and throw that uppercut? I think he did kind of, let it go on longer than it could have, but I don't think those early rounds he was giving him anything. I don't. I think he didn't know what to expect. None of us did. It was that X factor. He was like, hold up, let's see what this kid has. Even if he wins 1 or 2 rounds, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to download his data like I do everyone, and then I'm going to outclass him. I don't think he was given those rounds. I think Conor took those rounds, and I think it was because Floyd Mayweather was playing it safe and trying to figure out what kind of animal he was dealing with. Once he figured that animal out, we saw what happened. But those first rounds, he didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
He didn't want to risk anything. And Conor took those rounds. Conor landed punches. Conor looked good. It's just these boxing guys, they just can't give it up. They're just like, no, he's the best of all time. He wouldn't won a round if he didn't want to. That's the way this works. Well, no, it's not the way it works. If Floyd went out there super aggressive, his chance of getting knocked out were higher than a lot of other fights he's had in a long time. Conor is a weird, unorthodox counter puncher, bigger man. It's just you don't become the best of all time by fighting like an idiot. You download the data. Now, when you download that data, that aggressive fighter might win some rounds, but in the long scheme of things, you're going to end up on top. Conor took those rounds. Who cares? Conor lost the fight. He took those rounds. Yeah, he has 0 boxing fights. Took one of the rounds from the best of all time. Not a big deal. And people go, you just don't know boxing. Well, no, I do. Matter of fact, I know it better than most people who say that. It's just, you got to give credit where credit's due. He took those rounds. It doesn't take anything away from Floyd Mayweather. He still outclassed him. He still won the fight. There's also no rematch. It wasn't a close enough fight for there's a rematch. So when he says there's suckers out there that Floyd can make $150 million on the rematch, no one wants to ever see that again. You're wrong, Jim, on this. You're off, man. No one's ever paying to see Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight again. That ship has sailed like a motherfucker. That's over. We saw that circus. I see what that's about. I never want to see it again. That's it, man. But they just can't give it up. They just can't give it up.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that they usually frame it that way, that he purposely lost those rounds just because he wanted people to see MMA doing well. But that's part of his strategy, right?
That's always his strategy. I don't think he subconsciously, or I don't think his game plan was, we're going to lose these rounds.
Yeah,
I think he went, these first few rounds, we're going to play it smart. We're going to play it safe, see what he does. If we're not losing or winning the rounds, we're just going to feel it out. Then we're going to take over when it's time and win this thing. Mm-hmm. Now, if I lose those, it's whatever. But as soon as I get that down, we can go to work, which is what happened. I don't think you would have seen Conor do as well, in the first 4 rounds, which I thought he won 3 out of 4. Probably I go back and look at it, but let's say you give Conor 3 to 4 rounds. Let's say 3. I don't think Conor would have done as well if Floyd was able to download it in the first 30 seconds. Then yeah, you probably wouldn't have seen Conor win any rounds. If Floyd went out there and went, oh, I've seen this shit before. Yeah, I've seen that before. It's over, man. He's out in 4. But it took him a little while to get going. Mm-hmm. What else you got?
All right, some just quick announcements. UFC's heading to Western Australia, so Perth, Australia will be getting UFC.
Paging Mr. Whitaker.
That's for 221.
When is that?
Sunday, February 11th.
I'll go on a limb right now and say you're getting Whitaker versus Luke Rockhold as your main event.
That's a good one.
That's what you're getting. What else you got?
Another announcement. UFC 220 set to take place January 20th and from Boston. And then I think I told you that it's making people believe that this is possibly where Conor comes back.
Because it's Tony Ferguson?
Since it's a huge Irish population there.
I mean, Boston's a big Irish population. New York's a big Irish population. There's, so I don't know if this necessarily a tip of the hat that Conor's going to fight there. That January makes sense. Conor's manager also came out and said that Tony Ferguson has earned the right to fight Conor next.
Audiotar, right? Yeah.
Audie said that. Shout out to Audie. He's a beast. And he works with a lot of high-level guys. Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, Weidman, a lot of guys. So 220 timing-wise, January 20th makes sense. We're in October, not November, December, January. I mean, for Tony, it makes sense too. I could see it. The UFC 220, and it kicks off the year, so you can get some good numbers wise to get these TV deals going. So let's say Conor takes that and then fights one more by the end of the year. You got big numbers, or he fights 3 times next year, which would be a lot, but he fights 3 times next year. Mm-hmm. You think he's fighting Tony?
Yes, and I also think so because you know how you mentioned that it's time that they validate the belt. It's gone on too long that they didn't do it. So I think Audiotar said the same thing in an interview, and he does manage both guys. He goes, "I think it's inevitable they have to fight each other." So if they're ever going to fight each other, when would it be?
They have to right now.
Yeah,
they literally have to right now. Yeah, they've kind of forced their hand at that. I like that fight, man, for multiple reasons for both guys. That's a great fight. That'd be interesting for him to do it in Boston.
Then it's a real fight.
If I'm Conor, though, I just don't get why. Seems a little soon for him to fight. I just don't get why you don't fight in Dublin at a huge fucking stadium. Put every kind of favoritism in your corner. You're fighting your homeland in a sold out freaking stadium. No one else can sell out.
That would make more sense, yeah.
Boston, because what's the biggest stadium? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do it where the Celtics play. You can get good pay-per-view numbers. I just don't. I don't know. I think Tony's for sure the next fight, and Boston would make a lot of sense for the American fans. I would love to see it, though.
January 20th.
I'd love to see it. You'd have to have an announcement pretty soon as well if Conor was going to take that against Tony.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've been building up pretty well. Even Conor's doing that little, was it an Instagram or something where he calls out Tony. So even that's a huge move. So I think they're sort of building it up.
True. I think the obviously there's not much more you can do on Conor. The anticipation of his UFC return is what sells this thing. What we can do is tell the story of Tony Ferguson and kind of even rally more fans around him. Because I would imagine Tony's probably a favorite in that fight. What you don't want to have happen is the same thing you happened with Amanda Nunes and Ronda Rousey, where you put all your eggs in Ronda's basket, then she gets murked and sails off into the sunset, and then you're stuck with your champ no one knows about.
And maybe also if Tony lost in Ireland, if in a huge arena, it wouldn't look as good as if he lost in the States. I mean, sorry, if Tony won in the States. So if Tony won in Ireland, it wouldn't be that awesome. It would be awesome, more awesome here in the States, right? Does that make any sense?
A little bit. I mean, it sucks either way, but let's just say this. Let's say you do Conor Tony in January. That Nate Diaz fight isn't going anywhere, and then you do Conor McGregor's last fight in Dublin against Nate Diaz trilogy against whatever 75,000, 90,000 Dublin stadium.
Yeah,
I'd probably save Dublin for that Nate Diaz trilogy.
Yeah,
and do this one in Boston.
Yeah, so there's many good reasons. Conor losing in Dublin right now against Ferguson would suck. So him losing here in the States wouldn't be as bad. It would suck, but it wouldn't be as bad. And Tony winning here would be better.
It's kind of weird thinking, sir. I mean, if Tony went to Dublin and smashed Conor, that's huge. We go on Sizzler.
Is it? Does it look good for? It looks good no matter what. If he wins,
good no matter what.
Yeah.
The UFC, you're praying to the mixed martial arts gods. Conor can beat Tony for a number of reasons.
Yeah, I'm just looking too much into it.
It's fun to look into it. I get to piss hard though.
Go for it.
We back.
We's back. All right, I got another one, and this is a little interesting. So, Ricardo Labora, he went on Instagram and said that he's announcing that he's leaving American Top Team.
When did he go on Instagram?
Just recently. It was right after the Colby Covington.
He's been gone for a while.
That's the thing. So, let's see what the action did. So,
Let me
it's
read
22
what he
hours
said.
ago.
So 22 hours he posted. I mean, I think people in the know, I know he's been out of there for a while, but he put, I feel that I must make a statement in light of the comments made by Colby Covington. Oh, because he's Brazilian. Along with the amount of messages sent to me from Brazil, the United States, from all over the world. I'm here to state that I am no longer with American Top Team. Also, I absolutely do not condone any behavior that instigates hate, prejudice, or bullying of any kind. It upsets me to see the sport taken this direction of blatant disrespect. It's unsportsmanlike, but it also fosters and promotes a culture of cruelty towards others. Combat sports should always represent the qualities of humility, empathy, and respect. I dedicated my life to martial arts and to the formation and growth of this team. I cannot discuss at this time the reasons for my departure from ATT. At some point I will. For the time being, I want the members of ATT to know that they always be in my heart. Shout out to homeboy.
Yeah, but this is odd because he does combine. I mean, if anyone just saw this, it would look like he's retiring or he's leaving ATT because of Colby Covington's remarks against Brazil. At least that's how I would see it.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then, so the co-founder Dave Lambert said that he actually left.
Dan Lambert, sorry.
Dan Lambert said that he left 2 years ago.
Yeah, I knew he's been out for a while. So Dan says Labora left 2 years ago. He moved to Orlando, 3 hours north of here, for family issues. I made a deal with him. I said, okay, I'll keep you on the payroll. Just come down a couple days a week and train guys. He never came down. He got too busy up there. So I kept him on the payroll for over a year to help him out. And then early this year, we ended it because he just hadn't been down. But that was months and months ago. So I think Labora was just doing it because I don't think it was publicly known that he separated from ATT. And then people assumed with the Colby Covington remarks, he was still associated with him. So he's like, holy shit, I'm getting too many requests here. I got to let people know I don't work there anymore, man. I'm not part of that.
Gotcha.
I don't like where the direction mixed martial arts is going, the UFC is going. Like, I have nothing to do with this. So quit sending me messages. I can't talk to the kid. That's why I did it.
That makes more sense.
What else you got?
Okay. So Michael Bisping is being sued over an attack at a gym, a 24 Hour Fitness. And the guy is alleging that, I'll read some of the stuff here, that Bisping called him all sorts of names, including little punk and idiot. And then Bisping grabbed him by the throat and began to squeeze and cut off oxygen. So what people are saying that Bisping said that the guy was taking his weights, and then he confronted him, and then this is what happened.
So Bisping kept taking the... First of all, before I break this ridiculous incident down, why in the world is the world champion of the middleweight division in the Ultimate Fighting Championship working out at a 24-hour fitness in Anaheim?
I don't know.
That's crazy. Anyways, so Bisping went crazy on Antonio, dumbass.
Yeah, that's a hard
taking
name.
his weights without asking during a workout. Antonio claims Bisping called him all sorts of names, including a little punk and idiot. After the verbal tirade, Antonio claims Bisping grabbed him by the throat, began to squeeze, cut off oxygen. For sure, relax. Antonio claims he was about to lose consciousness when another weightlifter intervened and broke it up. At that point, Bisping allegedly screamed out, "Let's take it outside." Old school. Antonio claims the Anaheim PD was called to the gym. Bisping was arrested for assault.
So he wasn't arrested. The police report said that he wasn't arrested at all. He was questioned, and then that report went over to the city's attorney's office, but no arrest was made. And then Bisping responded by saying the story like it's bollocks, total bollocks.
Bollocks means bullshit for
Yep.
for everyone else.
And
It sounds like this. Yeah, it sounds like this kid's just vying for a tail. People suck, man. There's a lot of just scumbags out there. Like this kid is just looking for a quick. God, I don't have friends like that. I don't associate with anyone who goes, bro, you know, Bisping was taking the weights, so start talking shit to him. Then we got a confrontation, and I like encouraged him to grab me by the throat, and he did that. I kind of making that up. That never happened. We just got in each other's face, and now I'm suing him. Hopefully I get money. I'd say, get the fuck out of my house. What's wrong with you? What are you, some sort of loser? This is the only way you can make money? What's wrong with you?
The actual story was that Bisping was... Bisping was taking... No, that guy took Bisping's weights, and then Bisping confronted him.
I was like, dude,
Bisping
I'm trying to work out here. And then he probably got all hot and hostile with Bisping. Bisping's a great guy. This isn't in Bisping's character. He has no previous history of doing this. This is some tool at 24-Hour Fitness trying to take money from a world champion fighter in the UFC. That's all this is. This is your typical loser trying to get money out of successful. That's all this is.
That's exactly what Dana White said.
And it won't hold up. What else you got?
Okay. So Dana White is finally responding to the whole thing where Mark Hunt was calling him a bald-headed prick and taking him out of the whole Sydney UFC fight.
I know. I read this, and I got to be honest, I side with Dana White on this.
Here's the thing, though. So you side with him on like him offering to take him to a special brain doctor. So here, let me just read this part off for you first. So this is what Dana White says. He goes, so, you know, after reading what Mark Hunt said in that whole report where he says he stutters and has, you know, forgets his memories every now and then. So Dana White goes, so you know what I did? My team contacted his management within the first week of learning about these symptoms and offered to fly him to Vegas first class to visit the LaRuvo Brain Center, which is the best in the world for brain research, to get more tests done. And you know what? He absolutely refused. So how can I put a guy with these symptoms he said he's experiencing immediately back in the octagon without additional tests? I definitely wasn't going to do that. So the only thing I could do, which is I did what the only thing I could do was, which is pull him out of the event.
Which is bad for the UFC. Meaning they're going to miss money by pulling the headliner in Australia off the card.
That's what he says too.
Okay.
But Mark Hunt said that he didn't want to fly all the way to Las Vegas because he's from New Zealand, right? Or Australia. He doesn't want to fly all the way down there. So he's like, why can't I just do the test here? So he did do a test there. And according to Mark Hunt,
he passed those.
He passed all the tests. So he said that Dana White never mentioned to him that if you don't go to this particular center, then you're going to pull me from the fight.
Oh, wow.
So that's like two different stories. It's hard to believe what's really going on.
Ugh. Yeah, I mean, when you read Dana White's kind of what's going on here, you're like, I get what he's doing. And then he goes, again, when I first saw this, I had skeptical hippo eyes. I went, oh, man, they're trying to screw over Mark Hunt because he has that, lawsuit against the UFC.
Yeah.
But then when you look at it, Dana goes on to say, after all this, Mark is saying that I have it out for him and I'm holding a grudge because of the filed lawsuit. Let me ask you this. Would I have placed him in 2 additional fights, including one which he headlined the event? or paid him $1.645 million, which included a $50,000 fight of the night bonus and a $25 discretionary bonus.
Yeah.
After all this was after the lawsuit. So how can anyone have issues with this guy? It's a legit point.
Yeah. And then,
Because I'm the first to go, wait, they're screwing over Mark Hunt. And then I go, take it easy. No, they're not.
it honestly feels like they're both right.
Yeah, well, what happens, I think, is there's a miscommunication where if they would talk and not go through the media, it'd be way better. But Mark Hunt goes on that whole, not the best usage of words and sentences and just calls Dana White all these horrible names. Then what happens with Dana, he goes, all right, he said all this stuff. We got to fly him here with our people, deal with it, get everything cleared. Mark Hunt goes, probably not him, to his manager, goes, Mark's not flying there. He said he'd do tests here. And Dana's like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't know those people. It has to be here. Well, he says he's not going to do it. Cool, he's off the card, man. I can't trust that. Because you're going to get a way bigger lawsuit on your hands if Mark Hunt's on record saying, I slur my words, I can't remember things. Then the UFC and Dana White goes, well, you're still the main event. Then he goes in there, gets clocked, and goes, I told you guys I'm experiencing this stuff. Then sues them for that.
Yep.
That's what's going on here. They're both right. I was too quick to say it was because of the lawsuit. I was definitely wrong on that. Dana White has a good point. Like, what are you talking about? There's a lawsuit. He was already a main event in the lawsuit. We paid him $1.6 million. Gave him two bonuses. What are you talking about?
And then they're losing, like you said, losing a lot of money by pulling him out.
It hurts us by not putting him in there.
Yeah.
So I get it. What else you got?
Let's see. Oh, so Conor McGregor. So he's going to put his son into sports and everything else, in training and also fighting. At least training for fighting.
That's good.
And then he also, here's his quote. Like I said, I'm going to put him into training, sport, fighting. I'm not going to push him into fighting, but if that's what he wants to fight, if he wants to fight, that's great. If it's not his own decision, but he will be skilled in how to fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can't tell a person not to do something if that's their passion. Hopefully my son doesn't want to fight, but he will have the skills. Like he'll know jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and boxing.
So you'll teach him those?
I'll teach him that stuff for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He'll be in jiu-jitsu classes. He'll box. Won't spar, but he'll at least have the skills to take care of himself in school and in life. Hopefully he doesn't want to compete, though.
I don't know. When I saw this, I thought immediately, like, oh, you wouldn't put your kid into fighting, but then you don't want him to fight.
I don't want
him into training.
I don't want my kid at 10 to go, man, I want to be the next Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz. I'm like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna be fit and he'll take cardio boxing classes and I'll hold mitts for him or have a trainer for him, but he's not gonna be sparring. I'll have him roll jiu-jitsu, but he's not gonna, he can do jiu-jitsu competitions, but no, he's not gonna be doing mixed martial arts, meaning competing in it. What else you got?
If he really wants to do it,
then there's nothing I can do. Then I gotta give them the best advice I can and set them up to be successful. But if that's their passion, that's their passion. You can't really do it.
Yeah.
And you typically, if you tell a kid, can't do this, they're going to
do it. 100%.
What else?
Okay, more Colby stuff. So at his gym, he has some Brazilian fighters.
I mean, ATT's their foundation was born off Brazilian fighters.
Okay. And two of them in particular. So Amanda Nunes, she tweeted just a D-bag after he said all those comments about Brazil. And then also Bigfoot Silva said, I'll teach him to like our people or something like that.
Listen, Colby, again, I told you, brother, you're going to take some heat here. You go ahead and look at the line. You're going to see some of those teammates who you're really not teammates with and you don't train with any of them, so it doesn't matter. And just fucking burst through that line. Yeah, you might get in some fist fights at the gym. Big deal. Again, this is all going to pay you, brother. Bigfoot Silva? What? I think 2007. I guess he got knocked out left and right. Amanda Nunes, you don't train with her anyways. So who cares? You got to keep on, man. You got to walk through these fires to get to fame. So who cares?
But so wouldn't you behind the scenes be like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. No disrespect to you guys, just to keep. Because I don't know, I'm imagining a gym
you don't want
atmosphere.
the drama at the gym.
Yeah, you want it to be comfortable.
Yeah, he should. Bigfoot Silva, if he's still in the gym sparring stuff, probably do something else. But with Amanda Nunes, he's just coming like, listen, this is all an act. I'm just doing this. Listen, he came up with Damian Maia after the fight. Was like, hey, I just did that so people pay attention. Oh. You're one of the greatest fighters of all time. I respect you. He did that behind closed doors. And that doesn't get noticed, and he shouldn't even tell people that. But he's actually a good guy, so he should tell Amanda Nunes, like, listen, chill. I'm not anti-Brazilian. I'm just trying to make money and get noticed. I don't need you guys bringing that shit into the gym. And then I'd go, but seriously, Brazil's kind of a dumb, isn't it? All right, I'm out. I'm just kidding, girl. But yeah, this is silly. He doesn't need that.
So he wrote this to MMA Junkie, or he said this on MMA Junkie Radio. He goes, oh, you can read if you want.
Shout out to MMA Junkie. I love those guys. I don't really care about Amanda Nunes. I don't really care about Bigfoot Silva. They're not my friends. They never have been my friends. They will never be my friends. It's not a team. I'm not part of a team. It's hilarious. We're not in a point scoring system like basketball or football where it's a team. This is an individual sport. I do represent American Top Team, but I don't represent any other fighters in the gym. Yeah, he's right. There's always been a dividing line between Americans and Brazilians. I said this since day one. There's a lot of cliques in the gym. This is true. I'm not ATT when I went trained at, what was the other team? Why am I forgetting it now? Not Black House. Black Zillions.
I was gonna say that too.
Brazilians stick together and the Americans stick together. It's just how it is. If you go back through my interviews, then you know this is nothing new that I haven't said before. So it is what it is. Yeah. He's right. But also they need to realize that he's also doing it to get noticed, and it's working because he's ranked number 3 in the world now. What else you got? If you don't have that Khabib versus
okay, I don't, but I was going to ask you about it. So
Jesus Christ. Khabib is fighting end of the year, December 30th. Barboza. Edwin Barboza. Which is a barn burner. Khabib finally fighting.
It's official.
Yeah, it's official. It's going down. Goddamn, Khabib needs to fight. Imagine if Khabib doesn't make weight on this one, it's game over. It's game over for him. I listen. I think Khabib's one of the most talented guys in the world. I think he could easily be world champion. I just don't get excited for him to fight anymore. He's too inconsistent.
Yeah, this will be the one where if he makes his weight, looks awesome, then all is forgiven.
All is forgiven, but he still doesn't get a title shot.
Even after this?
He screwed himself after a title shot. Yeah, I think even if he beat Edson Barboza, with Conor fighting Tony, let's say they do it in July, well, that's close enough. They can still make that happen. Mm-hmm. They still make that happen. That's a great fight, though. Really good fight. Definitely.
Do you even want to touch on?
I won't break it down now. I just think for Barboza, it's definitely, Khabib would be the favorite there because if he can get him down, it's, Barboza's Achilles heel. It's a good fight for Khabib. For some weird reason, I'm rooting for Barboza.
Because of all the stuff that
I don't
Khabib
know.
did.
I don't know why.
He's also a really good guy, too, when you hear him talk,
yeah.
Barboza.
He's also the most talented striker in that division.
Super fast.
All right, what else you got?
Robbie Lawler responded to Rory McDonald's claims that he was on PEDs.
What did he say?
Like he's always been on PEDs. He just said that, I'll read it. He goes, I think he's trying to figure out why things happen the way they happen. Yeah. And he's finding a different way to cope with it.
He's saying the same thing I said about, guys who don't get why, why TJ Dillashaw's a monster. So people are quick to say that, oh, he's on PEDs. I train as much as he does, but, he's on PEDs. That's why he's like that. I think it's a bit of a cop out. I think, with Rory, it was kind of loose ended, Reddit or Facebook, whatever the hell he was on, just kind of out there, and he threw it out there. There's not a whole lot of evidence on that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So it is what it is. Should we break down this big ass fight card?
Cool. Let me pull it up.
UFC 217. Biggest fight card of the year. Oh, that December 30th one with the few fight announcements getting bigger. But it's finally here, man. If you're a fight fan, you've been waiting for a big card, and you're here. And George St. Pierre needs to get his dick out of my face in that picture. Jesus Christ, man. God, dog, get out of my face. I'm excited for it. Again, I said as the card gets closer, I think I'd get more excited. And I typically do. Listen, I just don't. There hasn't been a lot of media on it. I haven't seen a lot of countdowns or social media following on it. I just think, whoever's run the UFC social media is not doing a great job. When they put stand in bang or barn dot burner, all caps, it's just not compelling. Just do better, who's ever running that. It's a great card, though. It is a great card. We're only going to break down this main card. When you have this many great fights on it, hopefully the card does well. If I had to guess, I would say this pay-per-view, and going off the horrible numbers the last two have done, and going off of this year's pay-per-view buys, and me being a little optimistic, I think UFC 217 does around 700,000 buys. I'll say between 700 to 800. Now, I don't know if that's a home run for them. In George St. Pierre's heyday, he was pulling in 900,000. I think the 4-year layoff, damn near 5-year layoff is an issue with the recent study where the new fans don't really know who George St. Pierre is. Yeah. They're not that into it. Bisping's never been a big pull pay-per-view wise. Looking at the other card, there's just not a lot of heat on there. So I think I don't think that's a bad night, 700,000 compared to what we've been getting. But I think it does between 700 to 800 is being a little risky there. Between 700 to 775.
It sounds good, though.
I think that's what it does. I think that's a good night. I think that's a good draw for them. If it does less than 500, I'm going to bust. If it does less than 500, we need to sound the alarms like North Korea's launching nukes. If you're the UFC, you're like, oh, shit. We better figure something out because this card was stacked, and this pay-per-view model ain't working anymore. You're damn right we're going just social. So I hope it does well. And I think 700 would be a good night for them. Mm-hmm. If it does more than that, we go in Sizzler. So let's get into UFC 217 on the main card. I will give my picks. Typically, I'm biased. The toughest one for me to pick on this one would be Cody and TJ, since I love both guys. Cody, we've just been missing, 2 ships sailing through the night as far as getting him on the show. TJ's been on this show multiple times. TJ is a friend. So is Cody, man. I love both those guys. So that's the toughest one for me to pick. But obviously, I will make picks. And when I make picks, it's nothing personal. Hopefully, no one hates me. And I don't get any rude texts. So the other thing is, doing my homework for this card last night and this morning and going through my notes and stuff like that. When I look at the main card, and when I break down each fight, and I went through the 5 fights, I went through all of them. I went, oh, shit. There's a good chance you're getting 5 decisions. And this is a issue because unless you're balls deep fan like me, those last 3 fights are title fights. There is such a good chance all 3 of those go to decision. You're getting 75 minutes of fighting, ladies and gentlemen. And for me, I go, hell yeah. Fighting at the highest level, decisions, I love that shit. If I'm the casual fan, I'm going, oh, hell no. This sucks. I want to see blood. Someone's foot needs to get ripped off. I need to see someone unconscious. Gimme. But for just looking, I go, oh, shit. I think the only finish of the night's going to come from Hendricks versus Borrachina.
Wow.
That's it. And the only reason why I think Hendricks is on there, he hasn't earned that, especially with his last, what's he lost? 2 out of his last 4. I'm sorry, he's 2-4 out of his last 6. I think the only reason why Hendricks is on there is so fans are familiar with this card because Hendricks was the last guy to fight George St. Pierre, and George St. Pierre's the main event. I think that's why he's on there. And that's why that fight's probably going to be a finish because I know Johnny Hendricks, went back to, not went back, but is trying to reinvent himself. He went to Jackson's. I just think it's too little too late. I think that ship has sailed. This sport we're in is all about runs. He's missed weight so many times. That's a discipline issue, especially when you come from his background at such a high level at Oklahoma State, missing weight. He has to do these catch weights. He's always missing. Then he goes up to middleweight. It's just it's a shit storm, man. And I love the guy. He's one of the nicest guys in the world. And I know you guys keep saying, quit saying you love everyone. No, I actually do, man. He's a great guy. We spent some time together in New York. We had a common sponsor in Echo, and he's salt of the earth, but the ship has sailed. And it's sad to see. And I don't think moving to Jackson's which I've said multiple times is like moving to Florida when you're older. It's just not the move. And I think this is your only finish on the main card. I think Johnny Hendricks gets finished.
Oh.
But the one thing you could say, well, and handsome devil too. This motherfucker could be a model. You look at Borrachino, he's a handsome dude. Super handsome, knockout artist. But he only has 2 fights in the UFC. He's undefeated. He's had 2 fights in the UFC. He murked poor Gareth in 1 minute, basically, and then the other dude he murked early in the second round. So he's a handful. So the UFC must be pretty high on him. If they're putting the last guy to fight George St. Pierre, they're putting him to not kick off the main card. They're like, I think we got something in him. That's usually what they're doing. They're not doing Johnny Hendricks a favor. Johnny Hendricks is there, so people go, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Remember, that's the last time I watched George fight. He fought that guy. Oh my God, what happened to him? That's what's happening right now. A vicious Brazilian uppercut is what you're going to get. That's what happened to him. So that's what's going to happen. And to me, I really think that's your only finish on this main card. I got to be honest. Jeez. Unless you get some mistakes by some of these, you're looking at the creme de la creme on this card, who's left over the last 4 fights. Creme de la creme, man. These guys don't make a lot of mistakes. So Borrachino in the only finish on the main card. And then when you go to Wonderboy Masvidal, this is the fight I struggle with. I go back and forth on. The other ones I do not. This is the only fight I go, God damn it. And the underlying story on this fight is what makes these matchups so interesting. Because I think whoever loses this fight, it's career defining. Meaning, if Wonderboy loses this fight, he should be called Wonder Man, because he's not a boy. He's old. He's definitely older. And he had his 2 Woodley fights, which were boring as fuck, and he lost those. So he had the draw, and then he had the loss against Woodley. Before that, he was just on this tirade, just destroying folks. And the Roy McDonald is Roy with a nose issue. So, even though Wonderboy's been on this tear and he beats everyone not named Woodley right now, if you were to lose this fight, you go so far down the queue, you go so far down the back of the line, I don't know if it's enough to ever get back. I don't. I know that you're like, Jesus, man, quit being dramatic. I don't. I think when you have those 2 boring fights with Woodley, it really screwed things over for both of you. I think those were career defining, and now we're waiting. Now, if one of these guys can somehow get a convincing finish over the other one, now you got something. So whoever wins, is onto something. But if Masvidal can finish Wonderboy, he that's your title shot. That's your next title shot. But that you can't say the same for Wonderboy. No one's trying to see part 3. I keep going back and forth on this fight. Keep going back and forth. I looked at the odds, and Masvidal's an underdog. I like Masvidal as a dog in this. I like him as a dog. I think he has more tools to win the fight. I think he can apply pressure. I think his defense is remarkable. His takedown to striking, his cardio, and he's just game. And I think Wonderboy, as long as Masvidal doesn't play in that distance game and falls in love, if he can avoid that kind of those crazy kicks and that long reach, I just see Masvidal winning by decision, and it's going to be a close decision. Someone's going to walk away with a lot of fans going, oh, he got robbed. I think you get Masvidal by decision. I like him as a dog in this. What else you got?
Next one.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Rose Namajunas. How you like that for pronunciation? Suck on them balls. I'm getting better. It's 2017. Who would have thought on the biggest card of the year featuring George St. Pierre, your most dominant fighter would be a 115-pound girl? Imagine 4 years ago if you went, hey, George St. Pierre's going to headline Madison Square Garden, but he's not going to be the best fighter on the card. You'd go, get the fuck out of here. No. There's this little Polish girl named Joanna who is an absolute savage. She's 115 pounds, and she's so goddamn dominant, it's not even funny. Oh, and she just happens to be the best striker in the card as well. Well, Wonderboy's on there. No, I get that. I think Joanna has better striking in mixed martial arts than Wonderboy does. People will argue that, but I think Joanna overall and her record will show this as far as volume punches, her accuracy, the way she's dynamic, she mixes up her defense. I think she's the best striker on the card. 150 pound. Welcome to 2017, y'all. You got George St. Pierre on the card, and 150-pound girl is the most dominant champion on the card. I think, for Rose, it's just, if you're going to beat Joanna, you probably should have done it a few years ago. I think she's getting this momentum. If you saw her hit mitts on Instagram, like, Jesus Christ, she's scary, man. Rose has always been a favorite of mine. We trained together in Denver. I love her husband, Pat Barry. He's one of the best people I know. I keep trying to figure out how the fuck is Rose going to pull this off. The only way she can pull this off is almost the Buster Douglas thing and I think Joanna is going to be the biggest favorite as well, probably minus 500, minus 600. But for Rose, she has that X factor where you can train jiu-jitsu. You can train striking. But Rose has this explosive, like, spider ability with her flying arm bars, where it's this weird X factor, unconventional explosiveness that you can't train for. And she has to hope, between rounds 1 and 3, she can pull one of those off and get Joanna in some sort of trouble. Bearing a Joanna brain fart or her just taking a round off, I just don't see how Rose can win this fight. And if you're a fan of Rose, what you have to worry about is Rose is so goddamn tough. She's one of those girls who's going to hang in there, and then the surgeon comes into play. Then Joanna Nip Tuck Jędrzejczyk comes in and gives you a nose job. Oh, you want pouty lips? You get pouty lips. You're getting some eye work done. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's going to murk you up with those elbows and those strikes. Where if you're too tough, you never come back the same. So if you're a Rose fan, that's what you have to worry about here. You really do. But the X factor in this matchup, which she's the biggest dog on the card, is her pulling off a flying arm bar, them being in the clinch, and her going for some crazy thing that Joanna didn't expect, hasn't seen before, which Rose is the first opponent that has those capabilities. Is that going to happen? Probably not, which is why I think Joanna wins. And again, I know I said I think most of them be all decision. If there's a title fight that it was going to be stopped, it'd be because Joanna just TKOs Rose. But I will take Joanna by decision. That'd be your safe route. Toughest fight to pick on the card, Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw. Cody's 11-0. Cody's your champ. Cody's coming out party was against Dominic Cruz, where I thought was too much too soon. Boy, was I wrong. He looked great. When I had TJ on the show, TJ goes, let me, because I was telling him off camera, I went, Cody's a monster, man. He goes, he's a monster. No doubt he's a monster. He has all the skills. He goes, let me ask you something, Brendan. He goes, do you think when Cody beat Dominic Cruz, do you think it was a matter of Cody being that good or Dominic Cruz being that bad that night? He goes, have you ever seen Dominic fight like that? I went, God, I really can't. He goes, I think it was a combination of Cody having the fight of his life and Dominic having an off night. Dominic did not fight me like he fought Cody. He just didn't. There's some weight to that statement. I get it. I do think Cody is that good. I think Cody beats Dom, 9 times out of 10. Now, younger Dom's a different thing. Dom without the knee surgery is a different animal. But Dom currently, I don't think he's ever going to beat Cody Garbrandt. I just don't. You can say he had a bad night, whatever. I just don't think Dom can beat Cody right now. The game's just evolved. He's a lot younger, explosiveness. It's a bad matchup stylistically. There's no one that hits like Cody Garbrandt. There's just not. Now, that being said, and them, with the Ultimate Fighter coaches, and there's all this beef, and Cody thrives in the drama, and he likes that, and he's sticking his tongue out, and people thought he was going to be too, emotional when he fought Dom, and it actually helps him, and he thrives in that. The one X factor in this fight, I always talk about X factors. The X factor in this fight is Cody's never been champ. He's only 11-0. He really hasn't walked through fire, the same fire TJ has to get to this belt. And there's all this drama, and everyone's on Team Alpha Male, and Cody's the man. Cody's been doing a lot of traveling. Cody's recently married. Cody recently has a girl on the way. He's young. I don't know how he's going to deal with this fame yet. I'm not sure. What's his schedule like right now? Is he training as much as he trained to get to the belt? Is he doing everything that got him there? I'm not saying he's not. What I'm saying is the X factor is once you get to that level, the commitment should become even more strenuous. You should be in the training room even more. I know for a fact, and I can say this with full confidence, TJ has. TJ is obsessed with beating Cody Garbrandt. It's literally all he thinks about. He sleeps, eats, walks. His whole world is consumed with getting that belt back. Can Cody Garbrandt say the same thing? I don't know. I know if TJ doesn't watch his P's and Q's and gets in a brawl with Cody, he will get knocked out clean like never before. No one hits like Cody Garbrandt in this division. No one ever has, to be honest. At the bantamweight, he's a bigger. I don't want to say bigger. He's a smaller, quicker, more precise, better striker version of Chuck Liddell. That's what he is. Oh, again, picking this fight. I love both guys. I like TJ as an underdog. I think he beats him by decision.
Ooh.
I hate saying that.
Is he a big underdog?
He's probably a minus 125, minus 150, which isn't shit in mixed martial arts.
Oh.
I think, TJ can use his wrestling to steal rounds or he can control the octagon with takedown attempts. So he's a plus 155.
Yeah.
So I think TJ's wrestling. Now, Cody's a phenomenal wrestler. He doesn't have the college credentials as TJ because he decided to pursue fighting earlier. I think he would have been a All-American in college if he wanted to, but he didn't go through the same extensive training as TJ did in college and getting that experience in wrestling. So I think TJ, with his dynamic movement, stuff like that, he can win rounds by pushing him to the cage, controlling the octagon, and that will be a factor here. I think TJ gets a decision win, but I think these two will fight probably 3 times. I think you're going to get a trilogy. These two match up so well, the belt's going to flip back and forth. Remember, Cody's young. He's only 11-0. He's going to be your next UFC superstar. I just think this fight, I don't know why, but I'm leaning with TJ. I think he wins by decision. He's consumed with winning this fight. The X factor is, can you say the same thing about Cody Garbrandt? So I got Borchinia by finish. I got Masvidal, the dog, by decision. I got Joanna, the champ, by decision. I got TJ Dillashaw, the dog, by decision, which brings us to our main event, the fakest main event of all time, but I will still give you my money and watch it, and even though the fight makes 0 sense. The thicker than a Snickers, George St. Pierre versus Michael Bisping, the true champion at middleweight. George has been out damn near 5 years. The last fight to get a finish was UFC UFC 94 against BJ Penn, but that doesn't count as a finish because the cornerman had to throw a towel in. Correct. 2009. Boom. Fucking brain trauma my ass. So, his last finish was UFC 94. In the 4th round, corner stoppage, BJ Penn. Other than that, decision Thiago, decision Dan Hardy, decision Koscheck, decision Jake Shields, decision Carlos, decision Nick Diaz, decision Johnny Hendricks. Now, when I go through all those guys, and I don't want to do that, but all those guys, a lot of them were very one-dimensional, and it's easy fights for George. But the game has changed like a motherfucker. And I think Bisping has fought 8 times since then. So Bisping's fought 8 times while George was doing whatever, studying aliens, trying not to get abducted by aliens, whatever the hell he's been doing. And I think George is a favorite in this fight. I think he's, what is he, minus 1 something, 175, 125. I don't like, so George, oh shit, almost even money. So George is minus 120. So George is minus 120.
On Intertops.
George is minus 120. I just feel like it's 2017. You took damn near 5 years off. The game is completely different since you left. Have you gotten better over 5 years? And also, if you missed the game that much, why wait 5 years? That's very strange to me. The calling, are you doing it because there's these super fights give you these huge paydays now? If the payday wasn't as big, would you have came out? So I have some skeptical hip eyes why you came out. Is Bisping the exact fight you wanted because it's the safe fight because Bisping's not a knockout artist, so you don't have to worry about brain trauma? Why come back to 85? He looks thick. This is what I think happens. I'm with Bisping on this one. I'm with Bisping I think he's the bigger fighter. And I know a lot of people say George is stronger. I don't know if he is. I think as far as in the cage strong and just being dynamic and impossible to take down, Bisping is a motherfucker to take down. Ask any of the guys. Ask Tim Kennedy. Ask Chael Sonnen. Ask Jason Miller. Dan Henderson, CB Dalloway, Tally's Leadys, all these guys. Bisping is a bitch to take down. If you do get him down, he's the best at getting back up. And his cardio is unlike anybody George St. Pierre has ever fought. Now, George might be able to sit back and jab him, but the way Bisping pushes the pace, I feel like it could be an issue for George St. Pierre. I also think George is going to have issues. I think what's going to happen is the announcers are going to be on George St. Pierre's nuts in the first 2 rounds. So, God, look at him, taking 5 years off. This is amazing. He looks phenomenal. Look how he's pushing the pace. How can he take 5 years off and come back and look this good? And then as the rounds out, if it's 3 rounds, I got George St. Pierre all day. The fact that it's 5 rounds, then championship round, main event, and George has 5 years off against a worker like Bisping who throws so much volume and has great cardio, I think Michael Bisping wins in a decision 3-2. As the dog. So really I have 3 dogs on this main card. I got Bisping, TJ Dillashaw, and Masvidal as my dogs. I think you're getting all decisions except for that first fight, Hendricks Borchina. I think Borchina finishes Hendricks with a vicious uppercut or some shit like that.
Good stuff.
There you go. You disagreeing with any of that? You got any picks?
No.
You like them, huh?
I'm going to stick with your picks.
All right.
Make it easy.
We got some fan questions. We had over, first of all, we had over 1,400 fan questions. Yep. And I have MJ and Chin pick them. So if we don't get to you, keep sending them. Eventually I will get to them. If I answer them and you guys give me a question that I already answered, I'm going to bust. And not in a cool way. So let's jump to some fan questions. What do you got?
You want to go, MJ?
Sure. This one came up a lot. This one, who said it? Edward _Capulian said, GSP said he has his career. He has a plan for the rest of his career, only if he wins. If he loses, he said he'll retire. If he beats Bisping, what do you think his plan is?
I think George St. Pierre's plan is if he loses, he's like, oh, my bad. Give me that money. I'm out of here. But if he were to win, he does not defend 85. I think he does only one more fight, and it's a super fight. And I just don't think Woodley's that super fight. I don't think he wants to fight a guy like Woodley, who's a terrible matchup for him, and lose his belt at 170, and that's his end of his career. I don't see those stars aligning because I think Woodley would beat GSP. I think he's a bigger, more explosive, tough version of GSP right now, and GSP just hasn't been around to craft his art. So I just don't see Woodley getting that fight ever. I think what happens if George were to win, it's a big if against Bisping, and I think both of them are, to be honest, are damn near done. I think even if Bisping wins, he probably retires. I don't think he wants to fight Whitaker, the winner of Luke Rockhold Whitaker. Yeah. That's just not a good idea for him. So I think both guys are on the back nine of their career. I think what would happen, and it depends on what happens with Conor, but the only other fight you're going to get out of George St. Pierre is a super fight with Conor McGregor.
Oh, wow. I think he'd get his ass kicked.
By Conor?
By Conor, yeah. I think he'd
his
get
wrestling's going to be an issue for him.
I don't know. I think he'd get gassed out pretty early with that fight.
Maybe, but you're only gonna see GSP fight Bisping, Conor McGregor, and he's out. Mark my words. What else you got? That's depending on what happens with Conor if he's winning, because that super fight against Conor goes out the window if Conor loses to Tony. It doesn't happen. The one guy who would get super fucked out of all this is if Conor were to beat Tony and then GSP wants to fight against Conor. They both agreed to it. Nate Diaz, that super fight would get fucked. You're going to wait even longer or it goes out the window. What else you got?
Ian Thornton, 29, asked, if Hendricks loses on this this Saturday, do you think he retires?
Yes, no doubt. When you move camps, and I know what it's like when you move camps, there's a lot of pressure. You want to show everyone you made the right choice. It's kind of your Hail Mary, your last straw. You're hoping your camp was the reason why you're not winning. When it doesn't work out there and you have no other stones to unturned, yes, it's over.
Okay. Do you have any, Chin?
You got any more?
I have more. I'm just looking through now to repeat myself because he went through some of these.
All right, while you do that, let me ask. Topher Hubright is asking thoughts on the Anik and Florian podcast signing with Fox.
Oh, shout out to my favorites, John Anik and Kenny Florian. Mm-hmm. I don't know what agreements they came to. It's kind of silly to sign with those big companies now because I'm sure they want half your advertising. Maybe it was a studio thing. Maybe they're paying them so they can be in studio there. Maybe they didn't have the resources to go on video and live. I don't even know if they do video now. So also, some guys don't ride and die on podcasts. Podcast is my livelihood. So for them, it's like, man, hopefully they can take some of the workload off of us and produce it and get it out there and get us guests so we don't have to do it. I don't know. I typically don't. When people ask me for advice with their sign with these big corporations, stuff like that, it's not a great idea because you're gonna give up typically around 40 to 50% of your advertisement, and if your show is a hit, you're giving up a ton. Yeah. Now you're gonna go, well, my show's not that big of a hit. They're gonna take care of all this. That's fine, but if you do, for whatever reason, skyrocket in the rankings and you get a hit on your hands and they own 50%, you're going to be pissed through your hard work. And when you realize they really only provide a studio, they're going to tweet out something here and there for you. Podcasting really doesn't work that way. In my experience, when we left Fox Sports, we actually got bigger. No one was ever like, oh, my God, since Finding the Kid left Fox Sports or because they're not with ESPN or this big company or this corporation, I'm not listening anymore. It's just not – podcast is almost the anti-man when it comes to that stuff. Podcast is made for, the people because it's real. There's no producer. I don't want a suit tell me what I can and can't say. I don't want, people saying, well, Brendan, you can't cuss. Brendan, listen, you can't talk about these PDs because that's bad for our business. That's not what podcasting's for. It's raw. It's real. You're getting real ideas. You're getting a lot of mistakes. Yeah. That's what people want. When you go with those big corporations, it kind of waters it down. And there's a reason why they're trying to jump on the train now. It's usually typically too late. I always say invest in yourself. I think the best thing you can do is go, we really don't need them. Let's keep doing our thing because if we do have a hit on our hands, you're going to strike gold. Do you want to strike gold and then share it with this giant corporation who always has a ton of money, who's just going to maybe provide you a studio and blast a tweet out from their UFC on Fox account? How has that worked out for other people? I hope it works out for them. And I have listen, I saw the Fox guys when I was in Vegas working for Showtime. I have no ill will towards them. I root for them. I still follow them on Instagram. I hope it goes good. I hope the Fox Sports digital side figures out. They're always great to me. We had our differences as far as business, but that doesn't mean they're bad people. Mm-hmm. I hope they figure it out. And I love John Anik and Kenny Florian, so I wish the best for them. And they've reached out to me before about podcast stuff, and any help I can give them, I always do. So I hope it works out for both parties. Hopefully Fox gets another big podcast, and hopefully it's John Anik and Kenny Florian.
Sounds good.
What else you got?
James Suno 24 asked, do you think if Joanna wins this one and the next one to ensure the title defense record for WMMA, does she go up to 125 and challenge the champion there, or is it too soon for the new weight division to make that fight?
You almost don't want the boogeyman Joanna going to 125 when the division's so new because you're just going to fuck things up. Because then people are like, I don't want to go to 125. I'm not going to fight the best of all time up there. So I wouldn't let her. If I'm the UFC, I don't let her go to 125. I let someone get established at 125, build their name up, and then do a super fight between Joanna and her to combine, if whoever wants to go down or up. But if you have Joanna, you have the boogeyman go there, everyone's going to be terrified. It's kind of like Cyborg at 45. You don't see a lot of 45ers going, oh, let me go up there. When Cyborg went in, they went, fuck, man. I'm a 35er now. They pulled the Durand to me and went, I'm a 35, take 2 baths.
So if Joanna wins, do you think she's the best pound-for-pound fighter, potentially, then? Like, for female-wise? Like, do you think she'd outlive the Ronda legacy that's been going on that happened?
Yeah. I mean, she's so much more high level than this isn't a knock on Ronda or Misha Tate or Holly, but she's the evolution. She's so much more well-rounded. She's fighting higher competition, more well-rounded girls and outclassing them. So,
okay.
Yeah. It's 2017. It's just depending where you're born at. That's why it's not a knock on anyone else.
Mike Purro asked, if you could be a master in only 2 fighting styles, what would you choose? That's for your own personal.
This day and age, it doesn't matter because if you only have 2 fighting styles, you're screwed. It's 2017. So if you're just good at boxing, wrestling, you can get away with in heavyweight. Any other division, you're screwed. So you better 2. Come on, son.
Mateo Bahoric asked, who's next for Rose if she beats Joanna?
Next Jessica Andrade, 100%. That's a rough matchup. She looked amazing in her last fight. Give me 2 more.
James Doyle asked, how much do camp politics play into a fighter's mind coming up to a fight? Using the recent Team Alpha Male situation as a case in point. Thank you.
Zero.
None?
You don't get to their level with letting drama from camps have any sort of effect on your fighting abilities. TJ and Cody are such professionals, and the upper echelon, that stuff does not matter. It's drama for both camps, but it's for the actual fighters, it ain't shit. Give me one more.
Roberto Villier asked, this card is one of the best this year, but if the pay-per-views suck, what does that say about the UFC? How many years until Bellator catches up because the UFC only cares about the super fights and not the best of the league? Best of the best like the other sports leagues. In 20 years, what company will the MMA brand be? UFC or Bellator?
Jesus Christ. Well, first of all, that guy's a big Bellator fan.
Yeah.
You can't say the UFC only cares about super fights because this card's stacked. Even the prelims on Fox Sports is stacked. You got Vic versus Duffy's amazing fight. OSP versus Corey Anderson's amazing fight. TJ, Cody, Joanna, Rose, Wonderboy, Masvidal, Hendricks, Borchina. Like, you can't say they just care about super fights. I forgot Mickey Gall versus Randy Brown's on this fucking card. Shout out to Mickey Gall. So there's a lot of things going on. Yes, super fight is what drives the UFC, and they messed up because they put so much stock in that. What was the other question? How far before Bellator catches up? Mm-hmm. Listen, Bellator, they're doing a good job, but they need to get so much more depth. Have you ever seen a Bellator put on a card like this UFC 2017? No. It's stacked from head to toe because they have so much depth. They really do. And if they put on less cards, which I wish they would do, all the cards should be like this. We shouldn't get any watered down cards watching guys who have no business being on there. It's a double-edged sword. So 20 years from now, where are we at, or who? Probably the UFC, man. There's so much talent, but Bellator is they're getting there. They're getting there, but it is what it is. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Give me one more. We can end on that one.
All right.
Actually,
I'll
just jump on it. So Vinsanity _420. I didn't see this, but I'm hearing a lot of people saw this. So he's asking, what are your thoughts on the UFC tweeting a poster of McGregor versus DS3, then instantly deleting it? I'm not 100% sure this happened, but I'm hearing it from a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure if you go online right now, someone snapshotted it. There's no way they delete in time. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I wouldn't be surprised if they tweeted that out. But whoever's running the UFC social media, God damn, they need help, man. This is it right here?
1 day ago. UFC tweets. Not confirmed.
Go that that's what they tweeted out?
Yeah. So on their Instagram then. So UFC posted this on their Instagram but quickly deleted it.
Wow. I just don't see how you can do that. I when I watch it, yes, I'll always watch Conor and Nate Diaz fight. It just doesn't make sense. What do you do with Tony? How do you validate the sport being taken serious? How do you explain to Tony Ferguson he needs to wait till mid next year?
This is 3 days ago.
It's not even a good poster.
Yeah. But I mean, middle easy, so I do believe.
Interesting. I don't know, man. I think it'd be a royal mistake if they do that. I think you lose all credibility. That fight will be there, but what do you do with Tony Ferguson?
Yeah.
How can you take Conor serious? This fight doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do that unless they actually meant to do it but messed up.
Oof.
Would they want to just throw that out there just to have people, to see what people say? Get like a buzz going on or something?
I feel like there's better ways to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's so interesting.
Well,
Let the conspiracy theories start. We'll end on that one.
Cool.
Boom. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the fights. Again, you got Wilder on Showtime before the big UFC 217 pay-per-view. Madison Square Garden, UFC 217 this weekend, pay-per-view only. Friday night, I will be in Calusa Casino. My tour kicks off. The end of the year tour where I'm in Calusa, Charlotte, Nashville, and Columbus. Those are my next 4 shows. So Calusa this Friday, which is NorCal. It's like an hour outside from SAC. It's a casino. I'm there this Friday. And then the following weekend, Thursday night, I'm in Charlotte. Friday night, Nashville. Saturday night, Nashville. And then Sunday night, Columbus, Ohio. Get tickets right now, tfatka.com. Guarantee you guys have a grand old time. I'll be hanging around afterwards to talk. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Have some fun. Share some memories. tfatka.com for all that stuff. The Big Brown Breakdown tees, I think we're almost sold out, or they reordered them. Get them right now. They're soft as shit. You find a softer shirt, come holler at me, son. I almost said boy, but that's frowned upon and racist, so I didn't mean to say boy. And then Wednesday night, I am headlining the Belly Room at the Comedy Store. So I'm going to be working out some material, getting ready for my tour. So come on down to the Comedy Store, the best comedy place in the world and the most famous. It's the best of the best there. Why I'm there, I have no idea. However, go to the Comedy Store at the Comedy Store for tickets. I'll be posting on my Instagram, but that is Wednesday night. Show starts at 10 p.m. Belly Room, Comedy Store. See you there. But this Friday, I'll be doing over an hour stand-up. Calusa Casino, Charlotte next, the following Thursday night. Zanies in Nashville, Friday, Saturday night. Let's get weird, Nashville. And then Sunday night, Columbus, Ohio. tfatka.com. Thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the fights. I will see everyone at the shows who are coming. tfatka.com as usual. Bigger, browner, badder. I love you guys. I'm out.